President Obama's refusal to use the words Islamic extremism in the war on terror has confounded even some high-ranking members of his own administration. One of them was head of the Defense Intelligence Agency, Lieutenant General Micheal Flynn. In 2014, General Flynn lost his job over testimony he gave to Congress about the radical ideology behind the terrorist jihad. In his new book, Field of Fight, he outlines his plan to defeat radical Islam. We spoke with General Flynn and asked what was the uncomfortable truth he told Congress that caused the Obama administration to fire him.
The truth was that we are facing an enemy in radical Islamism that is something that our administration, the current administration, doesn't even want to describe. And so it does a disservice for the American public.
We also have to look at the ideology that exists within these groups. You know, they share an ideology, and I would add that to the definition of core. It's not just the senior leadership in Al-Qaeda, but it's in Pakistan, but it's also this shared ideology that many of these extremist groups have, and I think that that's something that we have to consider as we look at every single one of them.
You were called into a room and
I was called into a room in the Pentagon by two individuals, the Director of National Intelligence and the Undersecretary of Defense for Intelligence, and basically told them, done, you're done.
Did you imagine when you answered honestly at that congressional hearing that you might lose your job over it?
Nope, never did, never did.
How do you explain the disconnect between what you see as the truth about the threat that we face and what we hear from this administration?
I think he sees that we're not facing something that, should be described as a radical Islamist, extremist view. He doesn't want to use that phrase because I think he believes that it's going to be against the ideology of Islam. And, he can have that judgment. Obviously he does. But what it does is it does a disservice to the people of America. And actually it actually treats us like we're a bunch of idiots.
In 2007, you said that we in the U.S., our intelligence services, were watching 2 terror training camps and yet forbidden from doing anything about it.
Right. There was 2 camps in Somalia in the fall time frame in 2007. And we watched 2 training camps, approximately 150 per camp training, and we're watching them. Decision was made, don't do anything, and I think it was because, there was women and children in the, potentially that were at risk there. So we ended up with 300 terrorists, hardcore terrorists. Most of them are probably still out there on the global battlefield conducting the types of operations that we're seeing happening around the world today. So,
in fact, you knew one of them.
One of them was an American that ended up committing an attack, conducted an attack, a suicide bombing attack just outside of Djibouti. But it was the first time that I was aware of where a U.S. citizen had used, who we knew trained there in these camps, and then conducted a suicide vest attack.
And we, in essence, allowed it to happen
by
not taking
because
action.
The guy, that's right, because we didn't take any action against this person. So what I can guarantee you is that people that train in that camp are out and about today doing things.
If this is our policy, how can we possibly win this war?
We have to first clearly define the enemy. Okay? We have to clearly define it.
But we keep hearing it doesn't matter what you
I know, the president said that, but we've been told by our president, what difference does it make if you know your enemy? So first thing we have to do is know our enemy, understand them, clearly define them. The second part of this is to really begin to, to discredit this ideology, discredit it in as many ways as we can to prove this false idea that exists.
Flynn is now a national security advisor for the Trump campaign. We'll be right back.